Nickelodeon in the 80s and 90s was a place ripe for lost media cases to crop up. It was a time when our child brains were latching onto memories that fade more and more each year. In a world without the internet, and a time when things might only air once or twice. And this has led to some of my most commonly requested lost media cases to be Nickelodeon lost media. So that's exactly what I'm going to look into today. And remember, if you want to submit a lost media case of your own, just send an email to wanglostmedia@gmail.com. Anyway, YLM number 5. Let's go. This video is sponsored by Helix. Helix makes premium mattresses and bedding, custom fit to your needs and shipped right to your door. I've had my Helix mattress for over a year now and it's some of the best sleep I've gotten. Well, that sleep gets me feeling more energetic throughout the day so I get more videos out to you guys. It's real simple to get your Helix mattress. First you take the sleep quiz, which assesses your preferences and matches you up with the right mattress. Because I'm a side sleeper who prefers a soft mattress, Helix set me up with the Sunset mattress. And if you're nervous to buy a mattress that you hadn't tried, Helix gives you a 100-night sleep trial. You get more than 3 months to see if you love it, and if you don't, they'll pick it up right from your door and give you a full refund, along with a 10-year warranty. And there's also financing options as well as flexible payment plans. Helix will deliver your mattress right to your door for free within the US. It comes rolled up in a box and is super easy to set up yourself. Just click the link below or go to helixsleep.com/wang. You'll get up to $200 off of your Helix sleep mattress as well as 2 free pillows. This one was sent to me by Adam Plant, and I feel like it's one that I have a vague recollection of myself. In his email, Adam describes a short animation that aired on Nickelodeon in the 90s and 2000s. In the film, a high school girl is being antagonized by a talking pimple. That general concept is so familiar to me. And in terms of the visual style, he said it was mostly 2D, however the pimple was 3D. It was some sort of foam puppet, another aspect of it that feels really familiar to me. When he tried to find it himself, he could only find a Reddit post from 6 years ago on r/tip-of-my-tongue. In this post, the user Valenzu adds details like the girl had been rejected by guys she liked until a science whiz kid defeated the pimple with radiation. The pimple then pops all over the guys who rejected her, and a girl goes on a date with the science whiz. He also adds that the visual style was similar to Angela Anaconda. The post also links a clip that supposedly played at the beginning of the short, however this link is no longer working. One user, Psychosemantics, asked if it was from The Amanda Show, which did had a scene that was similar to what was described. But Valenzu insists that it was a standalone short, which Nickelodeon did used to play a lot back in the day. And I actually did find a lot of threads of other people looking for what's probably the same exact short. And most of the time there would be comparisons to Angela Anaconda and that one clip from The Amanda Show. And also apparently something similar had happened on Family Guy.
You're a good pimple, dog.
Feed me!
You can talk?
That's right, and we're gonna raise some hair!
The consensus seems to be, though, that this was a part of a recurring Nickelodeon segment called Short Films by Short People. In the series, animators and filmmakers would take concepts that were thought up by children and turn them into real short films. In regards to this specific one, a lot of people come up with the title Attack of the Hideous Pimple. Now, 4 years ago, Nickelodeon uploaded some of these films to their YouTube channel in celebration of SNCC's 25th anniversary. And in fact, the Paley Center for Media, which is an organization dedicated to the preservation of media, has an hour and 17-minute supercut of short films by short people. However, Attack of the Hideous Pimple is also not present in this archive. Although this particular short might have been a part of something else, I do think it's really likely that it was a part of this series, and my memory of it seems to indicate that it was in fact a part of Short Films by Short People. And according to Wikipedia, most of these short films are in fact considered lost. In fact, I also received another email about a similar Nickelodeon short that also seems like it was a part of the same series. For this one, I was linked to a thread on the Lost Media Wiki forums by a user named, get this, YouTube. That's a hell of a username to lock down. Anyway, a short 90s film that ran on Nickelodeon about new shoes. If anything, it was a filler or bumper that they aired between shows back in the early 90s. I would not be surprised if this was something they also aired in the late 80s too, or at the very beginning of Nickelodeon's creation. If I had to guess, maybe it was Canadian, as that was a country where the channel would get some of its content from, but that's a total stab in the dark. As for the short film itself, I remember seeing it numerous times as a kid. It started out with a young teenage girl with a raggedy pair of sneakers going to the mall with her parents. I want to say we only ever heard the mom and dad, but I can't be 100% on that. To buy a new pair. The shoes are destroyed, and after buying a brand new pair of shoes, just like the ones she destroyed, her parents say they're going to go home. So I think, and the girl says she'd prefer to walk home instead. Her parents say that's okay, but don't get your new shoes dirty. She says she won't, and then we proceed to see a montage set to In the Hole of the Mountain King. Which, if you don't know that song, that's the one that goes da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na. And honestly, as soon as he added that detail, my memory of this became so vivid. I also 100% definitely saw this one. The girl walks home and gradually destroys her new pair of shoes. I remember her jumping into puddles, but the one main image that sticks out is gum getting stuck. I want to say both underneath the shoe and on the laces, and the girl's finger trying to get it off. The short film ends with the girl getting home, and her new pair of sneakers look just like the old ones she had to replace. YouTube then goes on to describe how Nickelodeon did used to play shorts between shows and during commercial breaks and whatnot. And he also vividly remembers it being played in the early 90s. Like the Pimple short film, this one also did not appear on Nickelodeon's YouTube channel, and it's also not in the Paley Center's archive. And as another user pointed out, if this was in fact from the late 80s or early 90s, that would be too early for it to be a part of short films for short people. For what it's worth though, I'm really sure that I've seen this one, and I did not have Nickelodeon until 1996. So it's very likely that it was in fact a part of the Short Films by Short People series. This next one is about a lost Nickelodeon Halloween special. It was sent to me by Mac King regarding a story called either Night of the Jack-O-Lanterns or Night of the Pumpkins. In the short, a narrator talks about how the pumpkins in this town would come alive on Halloween night. They would start flying around the neighborhood, and it talks about how this was the only night that the pumpkins had to enjoy themselves. The short features jerky stop-motion animation, and it also had a scene where one of the pumpkins gets hit by a car. The next morning, the sun comes up and the pumpkins melt in the sun with colored smoke coming out of them. According to Mac, this special aired in 1988, around the same time as Mark Summers' Mystery Magic special. Although he was only 6 years old at the time, Mac's been replaying this film in his head for decades. Yet nobody he brings it up to seems to remember it. Since I didn't have Nickelodeon at the time, personally I don't remember it myself, and none of my searches for it seemed to turn up anything. Not even anybody else trying to find it. The only thing that can come to my head is that one Goosebumps book, Attack of the Jack-O-Lanterns. So I don't know, do any of you guys remember this one at all? Finally, we have a solved lost media case. This one comes from YLM number 2, the Lost Games episode. If you haven't watched that episode, I recommend watching it first, but the summary is there was this snake-like computer game found on school PCs in Mexico. It was essentially just like Snake, but there are more things like obstacles and whatnot. Well, although the original person who contacted me wasn't 100% on this name, it turns out that Ibid was in fact the real name of this game, and it is a real game. Several people actually managed to find this and emailed me, but the first email I get was from someone called Charles Brown. He linked me to a Hebrew website called oldgames.org. The game was created by Birkin Software, and the loose translation of the description is as follows. Everyone knows Snake, the mythical cell phone game.
Fuck.
Ibid is also a game from this genre. At Ibid, you get control of a nimble, tiny worm whose only desire in life is to locate and collect precious diamonds in its lap.
Fuck. This game's hard.
With each diamond collected, the end of the stage approaches, but at the same time, the worm's tail lengthens, making it difficult to maneuver in the field. Once the worms hit any object, whether it is one of the walls or its own tail, it is disqualified and must start the stage from the beginning. However, if for now Ibid sounds to you like any other routine Snake game, it is just because you have not yet seen the twist this game puts into the plot. Unlike the traditional Snake game, Ibid has a number of obstacles that should make maneuvering difficult in this game area, a little more complex. Starting from the second stage of the game, you will encounter stone walls, one-sided passages, tunnels, traffic lights, and other traps that will require you to think twice before aiming the worm in a certain direction. At the end of each stage, when you reach the required number of diamonds, a gate appears that takes the worm to the next stage. It also needs to be maneuvered just like a regular diamond. If you fail to accumulate the required number of diamonds and accidentally got stuck in some object during the stage, you'll have to start the stage from the beginning. Luckily for you, no matter how many times you have been disqualified, you will never return to the first stage, but will always start from the stage you were at. This detail may not sound so important right now, but after you play the game a bit, you will find that there are some stages that are so hard to go through that you will never want to go back to them again.
You just have to eyeball it. There's no grid.
The game can be downloaded or played directly in your browser from oldgames.org. And also, whenever this happens, I'm always a little suspicious that someone just kind of like made a fake website or a fake entry or something to try and make it after I've made the video about it. But I checked with the Internet Archive and this entry has in fact been there for several years. So it is in fact the real deal. What cracked this case, and it was a stupidly obvious thing too that I'm going to start doing that I hadn't been doing. So when you would search for this, any kind of thing you might be looking for relating to this, you would search for it on Google, this website would not pop up. The people who found it using DuckDuckGo. If I had to guess why this is, I think Google might have this particular website flagged as like a piracy thing or something like that, so it hides it from the results. So I guess the lesson is, when searching for lost media, DuckDuckGo is probably the better option. Anyway, before I go, I just wanted to note that just like in the wrestling episode, there were a few cases that you guys sent me that I think might merit their own dedicated video. So if you want to see those episodes when they come out, be sure to subscribe if you're not already. Anyway, that's all for now. If you like this video, check out my video about the search for the Tape World monster. I'm out.